Next, join me in welcoming Jiquan Ngiam, co-founder and CEO of Lutra AI. Lutra AI is the future of automation. It helps you create AI workflows using simple English instructions without the need for coding or drag and drop visual programming. In this session, Jiquan will show how you can use AI agents to beat the eCom competition. So let's dive into the next session with Jiquan.
Hi, I'm Jiquan Ngiam, one of the co-founders of Lutra AI, and today I'm going to share with you how you can use AI agents to beat the competition in the e-commerce space. So as we talk to many e-commerce sellers like yourself, we realize that e-commerce is challenging. There's so much that you have to do, from product research to find the right products that are potentially going to sell well but have design issues that you can fix, to sourcing and logistics to find the right manufacturer and getting those products from their manufacturing warehouses to your warehouses, and then also figuring out how to balance that with FBA inventory that you're holding. And on top of that, there's also inventory forecasting management to figure out how sales are going and using predictions of seasonality of what's coming up to figure out if you should acquire more inventory and when. Finally, there's advertising as well, which is really hard because there's so many knobs that you can turn to optimize your ad spend, and there's so many things to get right in how you phrase and get the right title for the product descriptions. So there's a ton of tools, data, and apps that we need to navigate across, make sense of, and this makes e-commerce really challenging and really a difficult space to win. So for example, if you use tools like Keeper or use tools like Amazon Ads, you start to see all of these options, all of these buttons to click, and it's very easy to get lost in the noise of how to use them and how to succeed with them. So can AI agents help us with this task? Can AI agents instead be the ones that help us navigate through these complex applications, help us go through all the products that we want to research on, do it en masse rather than do it one by one, and also help us with all the other aspects of logistics, inventory, and advertising? So today we're going to show you how Lutra, an AI agent, when connected to all of your applications, could potentially help with this. So Lutra is an AI platform that integrates with your tools and your data. It connects to services like Gmail, Google Sheets. It connects to other services that you might use as well, like HubSpot, Amazon Ads, or Keeper, and also web search, and it's able to pull all that data in together into where you need it. You can also integrate Lutra with your specific APIs and databases. And after it's integrated, the way you use Lutra is conversationally. You use it by telling it instructions on what you want it to do. Maybe you want it to track prices, maybe you want it to extract pricing information, or maybe you want its help to navigate one of these complicated interfaces. After conversing with Lutra, it will do a bunch of tasks for you, and then you're able to convert a conversation into an automation. So on the right side here, you see a Amazon product review agent that's going to take a look at two different Amazon product pages, extract out important information from them, such as the name, the price, the rating, reviews, and features, and then give a suggestion on how to improve the first product page, maybe your product, based on the comparisons there, so that your product page has now better positioning, better features, better value, and pricing proposition that your customers might be interested in. So let's see how this works. So in this first demo, we're going to look at an Amazon product page comparison generator. What this agent would do is to look at two Amazon product pages and then generate a report highlighting how one product page could be improved compared to the other. It's going to get all the details out for each product and show us those improvements. Let's see how this works. So in the playbook page like this, like an agent, you can see all the detailed steps it's going to take over here on how it plans to do its actions. It's going to find product pages, get detailed information, generate improvements, and generate a report. So I'm going to go ahead and start this playbook. So to run this playbook, I will need two Amazon product pages. So here are two product pages that I found earlier. I'm going to flip to them now. Let's say you're in the market for red light therapy machines, and this is a run therapy machine from Huga, and maybe you're comparing it to one versus Best Cool, and maybe you are one of the sellers here trying to improve how you position your product. So I'm going to give Lutra the first link to the Huga page here. Copy this there. Then I'm going to give it also the second link to the second product here. And I'm going to ask it to run the playbook on these two URLs. And so what Lutra has done here is to load into its context memory this particular agent for this process. It now understands my instructions in terms of what I want to do, and is now proceeding to automatically pull those web pages, run AI extractor agents to get details out, and then run another AI agent to figure out the product comparison between them. So I can click here and see what Lutra generates by running this comparison. And now you can see the details of what it comes up with. So it's going to show me potential improvements on how Huga could position itself better based on the comparisons to the descriptions in the best cool product. So you can see the positioning, selling points for the two products. You can see product 2 highlights here, and some enhancements and suggestions on how to enhance product 1's description. So for example, emphasizing the clinical grade aspect more prominently as a unique selling point. And you can scroll down and also see the other suggestions in there. So as a Amazon seller, it's always really important to have really good comparisons to other products, as people are always shopping around and trying to figure out which is right for them. And an agent like this could very quickly allow you to analyze and see how your product stands out versus the competition. What's really cool about Lutra is that this playbook now, this agent is something that you can use, and then you can remix it. So if you wanted this particular playbook to do something different, you could go ahead at the bottom and tell it to do a different analysis in here. So for example, I can say, could you compare their reviews and tell me why product 1 is preferred? So over here, what Lutra would do is to take the 2 web pages just read, feed it into another AI model and say, okay, based on the data on these pages and the reviews on the Amazon page, give us some reasons why someone would prefer product 1, in this case, the Huga product. So over here, you can see the analysis that it has done. So for example, it thinks that the Huga product does stand out more because of its clinical grade quality, user experience, proven health benefits, and superior technology. Cool, this is demo 1. Now let's move on to demo 2. In this second demo, I'm going to show you how Lutra, when integrated with the apps you use, could really help to streamline and automate your work. So this is a tool that a bunch of Amazon sellers use called Keepa, K-E-P-A. It is a price data tool that allows you to look at Amazon data and figure out products that might be interesting for you to sell. So in Keepa, for example, I can go to data, go to product finder, and find interesting products that have perhaps a reasonable sales rank, maybe 25,000, that they are currently out of stock on Amazon or in the last 30 days. And perhaps they have 0 offer counts right now, and in the last 30 days, there will be 3 new offer counts in there. And so this allows me to find a filter of 1,572 products that could be of interest to me. So when I filter that down, I find interesting products like, for example, this Apple Barrel acrylic paint that has some gaps in the sales here and prices here because it's out of stock, but it has really good reviews and really good ratings. So if I'm able to source this product, I will be able to sell it. Now you can go through all of these pages in Keepa and try to filter that and figure out which products might be of interest to you. You could export it, but Keepa only allows you to export the current page. Now what we have done here is to integrate Keepa into Lutra through the Keepa API. And so Lutra allows you to integrate all kinds of APIs into the system as long as they have API keys and they're on a public web. So in Keepa, they also allow you to see the API for this particular query, and you're able to copy it out and bring it into a different system to use. So this is the Lutra, and you can see that we have the Keepa plugin in here, alongside other plugins, for example, to our internal database and other system we use. I'm going to start a new chat session here with Lutra and ask it to use the Keepa product finder with this query. And so now Lutra is going to be able to take that filter that we set up in Keepa, based on Keepa's filter description that it gives us in the JSON, and then rerun that same filter in Lutra and bring all that table of data into Lutra's context so that it knows what the data is about and how to work with it. So you can see now Lutra is calling the Keepa product finder with the settings we care about, and is proceeding to ask us what you want to do with it now. So in this case, I'm going to ask it to, can you find more information about each product? And put all that into a Google Sheet. Okay, so for example, I might want to track this data. This data changes frequently because the sales and what's available changes frequently, and I might want to have a Google Sheet that tracks this data for me. So some of the native integrations we have into Lutra include Google Sheets, Gmail, Outlook, HubSpot, Airtable, and more. And these are all systems that you can start asking the AI to interoperate across to get data from one place, change it up, and put it into a different place. We have also integrations into Keepa and other Amazon tools, Amazon Ads. So you can see now here that Lutra has created a brand new Google Sheet for me with all the nice headings up here, the ASIN, title, brand, current sales, and all the data that I might want to get from it. Next, you can see it running live here, where it's now figuring out how to get more information about every product by calling the Keepa product request APIs, and then adding that data to the sheet as it goes. So now we can see the same data that we saw earlier, Crocs dataset coming in. Let me bold this. And we can see the sales rank, the average sales rank, the current Amazon price, the average price, number of sellers, and the category and product type in there. All very useful data to look at. Right. So this is really cool because if I were to do this process and try to take that Keepa data out manually, I would need to go to every page, click on next, click export, copy and paste, do it 20 times, and then finally get all of that into a big Google spreadsheet that I'm tracking. Cool, so Lutra went ahead and got the rest of the data, and now you can see a great nice 50 rows of data here of products that I could potentially think about sourcing, tracking, and figuring out if I can sell them. So now this is a really cool process, and maybe as this data changes every week, it's something that you want to keep track of and be able to understand if there are new products coming up that you want to sell in the same using this process. So in Lutra, what you can do is to click on a button here called Create a Playbook. And what Lutra would do is to look at the conversational history it had from you, figure out the process that it just went through that you essentially taught the AI, and then compile that process into a repeatable machine, repeatable workflow that you can run over and over again on an automated basis, on a schedule to achieve the task. Say yes. So you can see Lutra has now analyzed our chat. It has figured out that we can go to create a Google Sheet with all these columns. It's going to be given a search JSON string, so we can give it different filters that we use Keepa for, and then it's going to get the list of the ASINs and then proceed to insert all of that into a Google Sheet. So I can now click View on this playbook, and now this playbook is one that allows me to do Keepa research to Google Sheets and has all these other options for me for scheduling, webhooks, and sharing. So if I wanted this playbook to run on a regular basis, say every week, I can come in here, click weekly, select the time of the day and the day, customize the inputs, figure out the right search query I want to use with Keepa. This could come from the Keepa's website, and be able to select which Google Sheet is saving to. Right. At the same time, because Lutra is generating software behind the scenes, you can also look at the software it generates and see how it intends to do this task. So this allows you as a more technical person, if you so wish to, dig into how Lutra operates under the hood and be able to very clearly see the reliable nature of the automations it creates. Finally, you can also use webhooks and turn this automation into a API that your other systems could use. So if you have your own internal system that's calling out to your own internal databases, your own internal apps, you could add it to Lutra and have Lutra be a part of the ecosystem where you could call Lutra, have it do a bunch of work to get data, and then bring it back into your internal systems. Great, so that's demo 2. In this last demo, we're going to show you how AI capabilities can be used to process documents, such as invoices, to get data out quickly into spreadsheets. Now, this is a very common task that you might want to do when you're reconciling data from your orders and your sales, or maybe you need to look up ASIN numbers to specific receipts you have. So imagine if you had a receipt, for example, this one, say from Walmart that you ordered some goods from, and you needed to reconcile this data with some other data you have in your internal systems. So what Lutra allows you to do is to provide PDFs like this, and it'll help you process them. So I want to start by uploading a file to Lutra, but you can also provide all the files inside a Google Drive folder, a Google Doc, or as PDF files. And I'm going to drag that order file into the upload icon here and get it into Lutra's context. So with that uploaded, I'm going to ask Lutra to extract the data I need. Can you extract all the products, line items listed in here? And I need the name, model, quantity, and cost. Right. So again, Lutra understands our instructions in natural language, understands the PDF file that it has been provided with, and now is able to orchestrate across understanding data, extracting data, and putting data in the right places. So this particular workflow I think is really useful when you have a lot of PDF files to process. What we have seen other e-commerce sellers use this for is to process order, invoices, receipts, but also process things like price lists. For example, you have price lists from different suppliers and you want to merge them together to compare them. Lutra can do that for you and understand how to combine the data so that you can more easily compare prices. So now we can see that Lutra has extracted out the particular order information in here. We're going to ask you to do a little bit more. We're going to ask you to look up the ASIN number for this product using the name and model, then add all that info you found into a Google Sheet. So it's often a challenging task when we have all this information from our orders, from our price list, and sometimes the ASIN numbers are just not there. And so it turns out that because of the Keepa integration that we just showed you earlier, we can now operate across two different sources of data. Now we can take the information from our invoices, we can take out ask AI to extract out the name and model of the certain items in there. We can ask the AI to then look it up on Keepa to find the ASIN numbers, and then bring it all back into a central store in a Google spreadsheet where we can work with. And so all this manual reconciliation processes could now be something that you accelerate and make much more operationally efficient and automate through playbooks that you built with this. So here we go. So we can see it has figured out to add columns for the product name model from the receipt, the quantities, the cost, the ASIN number, and also the Amazon name, which is different probably from the product name that we bought it from at Walmart. And you can see this is actually the same product here, HWT400, and here HWT400, right? So it gives you confidence that it's finding the right things. You could also look up the ASINs on the internet to find that this is the right product. Right. So that's demo number 3. If you have lots of PDFs, lots of invoices you're processing, Lutra is a really good solution for that. And on top of that, if you have your own internal databases, this is a great way to cross-connect information from all those systems into a central location where the AI can start to interact with all of them and create automated processes for you. Great, so that's Lutra in a nutshell. Lutra enables you to automate at the speed of thought. You just have to get all the applications you have integrated into Lutra, which is easy because you can get Lutra to build those integrations. And after that, you'll be able to automate all your processes and get the AI agent to help you in your task. If you would like to try Lutra for your e-commerce task, please reach out at hello@lutra.ai, and we'd love to stay in touch as we develop more and more integrations into the e-commerce space, including Amazon Seller APIs, Shopify APIs, WooCommerce, BigCommerce, and we really want to help sellers like you succeed in what you do. And we hope that Lutra AI has a role to play in making those processes streamlined, efficient, fast, and automated. Thank you.
Thanks, Jiquan, for sharing your knowledge on AI-powered automation with Lutra AI.